Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live transmission. I have someone that you may not know. He's new in this in this show. We just met. Yet he really looks like one of the finest beings that I have ever met. I'm just kidding, not about the finest being, but about just meeting, having just met him. He's Dr. Amir. Let me say Jahangiri.
Correct. Yes, that is correct. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes we choose a little bit of different names, last names. So, yeah, nice. Jahangiri, Dr. Amir Jahangiri. And he has been with me a couple of times because we have so many things to share, including an upcoming course on the activation of the rainbow body and the plasma body, which is the same, but just different forms of approaching to that magnificent technology. So, having said this, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, my dear and esteemed friend, YssaH. I'm honored to be here with you. I'd like to say hi to our wonderful audience. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. Thank you for being here. Your time is appreciated. Hopefully, we're going to have an enjoyable and beneficial conversation today. We're going to try to knock your socks off, spiritually speaking. You don't need socks if you're spiritual anyway. So let's see how this goes. Welcome, everyone.
Yes, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. And well, the topic that brings us today is actually the mystery and mastery of the potential energy and how the black hole technology has been translated in terms of spirituality, mainly through as the feminine energy, as the divine feminine energy. So we can relate to it as the void energy, as the void presence. There are many ways of approaching to the divine feminine, yet overall, I think that we all commune in the fact that it is a mystery and it is a mastery. Mainly when we approach to it as the black hole and the void, it's the unknown, the mystery of the unknown. And I think that due to this powerful correlation is that also a lot of distortion has come through the field. Years of human evolution, and very little is truly known about what the divine feminine is, and mainly embodied, you know because again we live in a reality that we are being invited to evolve at every moment. Perhaps that evolution at some point can be challenging, perhaps at some point it's very pleasant and enjoyed. Nevertheless, the point how I perceive it is that we have reached a stage that truth is imminent to be embodied at, at every scale. And one of those scales precisely is what is the divine feminine? I remember I was watching a documentary, a funny one, and it was about a guy asking women, "What is a woman? What is a woman? I'm sorry, what is a woman? What is it to be a woman?" And interestingly enough, most of the women would take like a few seconds, even more, a minute, to respond. And most of them were like really unaware of what a woman is. And also, it's very different, a woman from the divine feminine, because as women and men, we all carry this potential energy. So I would love to share a little bit of your insights based on your experience about this.
Well, this is an incredible topic and very appropriate for the current time. Um, as you beautifully said, there's a lot of distortion in this area on the definitions, to a point where you ask 10 women, what is a woman? And they're kind of a little bit hesitant. They know stuff, but maybe there's also an element of fear of prosecution and punishment if they say the wrong thing that is politically incorrect. This just makes the whole environment more confusing for everybody. So, first of all, I would like to start with an expression of compassion and respect towards everyone. So,
Yeah.
whatever you believe, I honor that. We're each at our own stage of our journey, at our own level of evolution. We have access to certain information. And so, based on that, we form our beliefs and understanding of the world. All of this I respect. So again, we're not here trying to persuade anybody of anything. We just want to politely have a conversation about what's known spiritually, what's traditionally been accepted, what is going on right now. So, with that being stated, it seems that this universe that we are in uh, is one of the universes based on polarity. So we've got a positive and negative, yin and yang, masculine, feminine. And these are extremes. They're extreme different types of thing or being. We've got the active, and then we've got the passive, masculine and feminine. Now, a few moments ago, we were speaking about the I Ching. It's a method of divination and intuition building, spiritual consultation uh, based fundamentally in China. I came across this fairly recently. It's one of the most elegant models of the cosmos. And having studied a number of these models, I must say that none of them are perfect. We build models in order to help us understand that which is infinite. So some models are better than others, and they don't always continue to operate in the same way. So probably a certain model of the universe was really good 1,000 years ago. It's irrelevant now for this day and age and for this version of humanity. But some things seem to be more fundamental. Those related to the laws of physics, for example, or how manifestation seems to occur generally, these are immutable. And so, therefore, they're known as laws, mentioned in the Hermetic laws and many other versions that try to, again, put these in a sort of a short formulated form. So, working on the assumption of duality, we have two poles, one extreme this side and one extreme this side. And then between these, based on the combination of these two, we have elemental forms. And so originally, an element is built from a trigram. So I've got a nice little chart here And so this is basically the summary of the I Ching. So the continuous lines are active, the broken lines are passive. So up here we've got heaven, it's active, active, active. And then on the other extreme we have earth, passive, passive, passive. And then when we put two elements together, we get 64 hexagrams. So for example, bringing back here, light is fire upon fire. So when you really heat something up, it starts illuminating and sending out photons. Darkness is water upon water. And you see that they're basically complementary to each other across these lines. So this masculine and feminine, we can look at these as the building blocks of the cosmos. So is one better than the other? No, that doesn't make sense. Um, do they need to be in perfect balance? It doesn't seem so either. Again, every possible combination of these extremes works out in a way that is needed and is beautiful. Um, so, what is needed then? I would imagine flexibility is needed. So, depending on the situation, you have to be able to move towards one pole or the other. Now, although this model of reality is binary or based on duality, perhaps that is not the correct version of what actually happens in reality. So it's a continuous spectrum, but using binary systems uh, is very useful in terms of simplifying. So we do have these extreme poles. Now, something that I've noticed in my journey is that when you move too far towards one of them, there's the tendency for one seeing themselves as perfect, and then you freeze. Because if you're perfect, then there's no more need to change. The place where neither of these have a pull anymore is right in the middle. So that balance comes in here, where you're not swayed by any one of these uh, portals, black hole or white hole. There's no gravitational influence laterally, and so you become a superconductor for evolution, for source energy. Not like walking the tightrope. You got a little stick in your hand, and sometimes you got to lean a little this way, you got to lean a little this way. So this balance isn't right on a straight line either. It's very dynamic. And so there comes in the flexibility. So in each condition, in each situation, what is really needed is compassion and looking at the consciousness of the other being. And sometimes in order to balance them out, as a collective, maybe you need to sway a little bit more than usual to one side, embodying more of a feminine energy or a masculine energy. Now, again, something interesting. We humans, whether we're in a masculine or feminine body, we have both flavors of energy. And so a powerful female practitioner can heal the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and vice versa. And so the whole thing is about dynamic balance. And in my humble opinion, it's really important that we have the ability to go all the way to one side or the other, because otherwise your abilities are limited. You got to be able to go perfect divine masculine and perfect divine feminine, regardless of what form your body takes or what color your skin is or where you're born. You see, these are non-important details. They're usually focused on, and it's a really amazing tool to cause division amongst humanity. Sometimes I come across these videos on YouTube. All men are dumb, or all women are so and so, and guess what? They get millions of views. That's a low blow. That's a
Yeah.
technical foul. It's one
Yes.
of the easiest ways to cause separation. And well, what's the rule? Divide and conquer.
Yes, I agree. I feel that one of the fundamental topics that it's very important for us to focus on is precisely some like this, our divine feminine and our divine masculine. And for years, there has been a more intimate approach to these two energies. However, there is so much distortion leading to confusion, as you mentioned, in the media, in our own culture, in the way that we were brought up, all the institutions in the schools, religion wise, politically wise, and so forth. And this is not because, let's go beyond, let's now, from a unity consciousness, from a unified consciousness, acknowledge that this is all a test. So when we're talking about good guys or bad guys, everyone is playing a role. So for me, the more that we acknowledge that every situation is allowing myself to evolve and to become the most evolved version of myself, and that this is a continuum, as you said, the moment, like, for me, the only thing that we all share, as like every form of consciousness, is evolution. The moment that we cease to evolve, then we stop existing, because we have any longer, like, no longer purpose. So then when we talk about these two forces and the polarization and dualism and so forth, like, if we talk about polarization is needed to achieve consciousness, like to achieve that singularity. Why? Because if we have something that is all the time like this, then there is no motion that enables the amount of energy needed to actually, create a charge collapse or a torsion, and then, oh, I'm moving to the next stage. So even that polarization is following a divine purpose coming from source. So now the thing is that how long and how we manage, how we mastery that, those dipoles, that polarization, because in the end and in the beginning, those two poles are merging continuously with one another. The thing is that we are not aware of that, or we were not aware of that. So imagine that you have all this beautiful orchestration within you, all this majestic cosmic melody all the time happening inside of you. And throughout your awareness, it's like living an alter reality where all that communion of the pulse into one, creating consciousness and memory and the gravitational field and the potential force and the kinetic, all those that are so organically functioning eminently within you. It's like you live in an alter reality and you say, oh, now I reject this, or I don't want this, or this is too masculine, or this is too feminine for me, or I don't have the best relationship with women or with men. Why? Because that's not you. That's actually the result of layers of education that were imprinted in your awareness and also in your holographic body through the very same binary codes that Dr. Amir was talking about. So one of the things that it's very important for us to clear as well is our holographic body. But before getting there is always something that I ask myself, that I find it very easy when it comes to at what point in my inner relationship am I at? So this is, okay, I ask my feminine, okay, how are you feeling regarding to my masculine? Are you loving him? Are you feeling close to him? Is he being very oppressive, too controlling, and then I will have the response of my own divine feminine telling me, eh, like, or, oh yeah, I'm so in love, you know, different answers come at different times. And the other way around, asking my masculine, my divine masculine, because you will have different answers. When we're talking about divine feminine, we're talking about the highest form of perception as how we experience it. Again, as Dr. Amir said very eloquently, we are here sharing how we embody it, how we are creating it in our reality. um, and so whoever resonates with this, and whoever doesn't, that's the beauty of it, like that's what unity consciousness is. We not we don't hold the arcs of absolute truths. All together we create a higher truth, that arc of the covenant. All the expressions of myself together create my inner arc of the covenant, that higher truth. It has nothing to do with religion, hermetics. It's information coming from source. So, but anyway, everything is all related. So, going back to that, back and forward in between my masculine and my feminine, divine masculine and divine feminine. So, depending on the answer that I receive, like, okay, my masculine, how are you feeling about her? How is she addressing to you? And then I receive the clear answer. It's impressive. Why? Because before going in a relation outwardly, it's super important to handle that inner relationship. Are you comfortable? And I'm just playing it very linearly because it's not that way. This is one way because, like masculine energy, divine, intercrossed through the brain, feminine, creative, analytic, masculine, just summarizing it. And there is another thing that I have mentioned in other shows, is that another thing that was left behind is how they relate non-linearly, and which is precisely through the potential and kinetic energy. So the potential energy, as the name says it, is what is about to be, what can be manifested, the infinite field of probabilities. Choose what you want to create. That is related to our divine feminine, that womb of creation, that holds suspendedly all that information, and that is going to shape it and direct it when it interacts with the masculine energy or the kinetic force. Like it's going to create, or well, mainly saying the potential is going to be interacting with the 0 point field, shaping itself and so forth, and then creating a bridge into the kinetic force, which is the masculine. So, without going too much into the scientific field, what I want to say is that if we look at it that way, like the potential and kinetic, it would be mainly a toroidal field where my potential energy is deep within, and then my kinetic is the one that is emerging from that potential energy. It's not steady, it's dynamic, it's continuously flowing. So it's not only my feminine and my masculine, because very indirectly that is creating also separation. Why? Because it's like if you choose colors and you paint yourself this in white and this in black, and it's not like that. It's more dynamic. It's a toroidal field. So if we become aware that also my potential energy is in the center, communing with my 0 point energy, let's say, how to put it. Imagine that again, you have your potential energy at the center. And again, I'm not going like literally as it is in the scientific field, because I am really trying to break it down. So then you have your potential energy in the outside. So as soon as the kinetic energy is brought to the outside, the masculine, then it merges deep within. to the center, and then your potentially energy expands from within to without, and they are intertwined with one another, creating that toroidal field, which is the golden ratio, you know? So um, when these two forces come together by communing with the 0 point field and so forth, it creates the singularity, which is that wholeness. So just to, I'm going to stop in a bit to so that Dr. Amir can also share his perceptions on this. Yet the singularity is that space of wholeness, and the 0 point field would be that space that is around, along with the potential energy, that together they are shaping our reality, and our reality is translated as that kinetic force, as that force of coherence. Imagine, you know how they say that the feminine energy as the creative one is like, like suspendedly there, like, oh yeah, and I want to do this and I want to do that, and I'm having all these ideas, and yeah, and then it comes the masculine and says, okay, that's awesome, now let's do this, and brings the, like the order and the coherence, and bam bam bam. Okay, so non-linearly, this is very much present in the co-creation of these two forces. So the suspended potential energy has so many probabilities that it requires from that kinetic force to bring order into manifestation, not to stay suspended in what it could be, or what if. So, thank you. So I think, yeah, it's a way to put it. And yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So I was just writing down little points as you were speaking, so I don't forget. Yes, beautifully said. Now, you mentioned this internal dialogue, masculine and feminine speaking, and asking towards the other form of energy, how do you feel? Are you expressed correctly? Are you happy? Are you comfortable? One of the ways that we can use, so other than the internal dialogue, which comes from a um, high level of consciousness and awareness, where you're able to raise the question and receive the answer. But other times, we may find the answer in the form of resistance. I'll give you an example. I was introduced to a brand new grandmaster. Everybody loves the guy. And I'm sitting there listening to it, going, oh my God, this is too slow. Hi, yeah, I want to go run around a tree. That's my level of resistance. What is there? So now I'm aware something is up. There's something going on, turbulent within me. Something doesn't like something. So now that's my cue to start investigating. Where does this come from? Am I being egotistical? Probably yes. What is it in this Grand Master that is triggering me? And so finding the answer to this question is going to give me that next level of evolution.
Beautiful.
So if you have the resistance, that is giving you an indication, okay, ding, 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 there's something to investigate here. And so quite naturally, evolution requires effort, and it's not something that you can just lay back and eat cheesecake all day and expect it to happen. You have to put in the work. And the work is in the form of critical self-analysis, looking at what you are carrying. So it's not always in the form of a, let's say, feminine, masculine conversation or accepting or rejecting new modalities. It comes in many forms. Usually the belief systems that we have built in, these take the form of malware, of the nature of a virus that runs on top of your operating system and makes something go wonky. This is our challenge, really. And it's the major thing standing in our way towards evolution. So it requires bravery because it's not pleasant. It's kind of unpleasant digging into that zone which is a little bit sore and uncomfortable. But the fear is worse than the pain. This is a fundamental truth. The fear is so much worse than anything that the cause of the fear can ever do. So you need to face it willingly. This openness and willingness and courage, that is one of the things that will drive you forward towards greater evolution and wisdom and reaching that natural state that is the magnificent you. Because as YssaH beautifully said, these are all built in. They're already here. We're the ones pushing buttons and turning dials and messing the whole balance of the system up with our little monkey brains and our belief systems, our little believies. We like them so much and then we don't even act upon them. They're just malware. So the next thing that you spoke about, YssaH, the infinite potential, that field of infinite potential, and so the way I have come to understand it, that is the divine void. So there's the source of all things, the divine, that initially wants to begin creation or manifestation. Source self discloses, is all for the purpose of source knowing itself through infinite expression. So the first thing that is brought about is the field of potentiality. Everything that is possible, all in one place, and all the energy it will ever need to manifest. But it's everything in one place. Then after that, one of these potentials are chosen, energy is taken, and it turns into a single solid manifestation. And so you look at that as the expression or the manifestation or the masculine. Spot on. This is absolutely true. Now, we need both. If there is a infringement upon that infinite field of possibility, only some of them are allowed to be, existence would be incomplete. So absolutely, it is necessary to have a liberty of the feminine energy, because that will bring in the potential for ways of manifestation and evolution that are brand new. Anything that is possible should be given the choice to manifest and express itself. And then in that way, we need many dimensions, many timelines, many universes for all these infinite possibilities to have room to manifest. And so that would be the masculine. So limitation or infringement upon the infinite liberty of any of these is a diminishment and deterioration of the cosmos. All have to be there. The feminine as a unified field of infinite possibility and energy, and then different domains or little bubbles or pockets of reality as the masculine, as a singular expression of each one of these. Then where do we lie? This wonderful human body, a tiny little of the energy of the soul coming in here. We are a model of the cosmos, as above, so below. And so the feminine inside will say, oh, I would love to go to Mexico and see these wonderful pyramids. And then the masculine comes in, no, 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 you shouldn't. You have this and this to do. You have to feed the chickens. You have to go buy cheesecake. Yes, all this stuff. And that would be an infringement upon infinite possibility. Now, the best way is to prioritize. Even better than that is to have the discipline and foresight to enable the manifestation of as many of these as possible. So you know what, you think that you're going to be a good painter, try it. You think that you can sing beautifully, please try it. You think that you can bake wonderfully, please try it. All of these, they should be given opportunity. And then depending on the environment and what is really built into you, one may be more fruitful. That's the optimal outcome. By the way, that's not just the model of the cosmos, that's not just the model of this universe or Earth for that matter, it's also the model of the human. And then that which gives you the best results, you put in more energy to it. But infringement in potential and infringement in the kinetic energy or manifestation, this is going to deteriorate the conditions in general. So I wholeheartedly agree. That's really is a wonderful way of looking at things.
Hmm. Now that you're saying this, because one of the things that I love about our interaction is that we are sharing and expanding a lot of codes as we speak. So it's like ding, 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 ding. Yeah, 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 yeah. And the orchestration beyond the words. So, you know, if we say, because you were giving the example, like, okay, so my divine feminine comes with ideas, okay, let's do this, let's do that, and then the divine masculine is like, oh yeah, yeah, I agree, let's you know prioritize. So I think, because now let's go to the other part, because you also touched upon that, which is this other, for instance, if we talk about, let's say, these consciousnesses that are related to the feminine, as the void, as the chaos, as the potential energy, yet without that order, without mainly as entropic force, and then you get, so let's talk about that. So you have imagine that if we say that the potential energy is suspended along with the space, along with the space, not being the same, because you have the plasma, the Planck plasma, which is the 0 point energy, and you have the potential force. Interestingly enough, the way that they are interacting, like the result that will be, as the order to manifest, is already interacting with the potential force and the 0 point energy. Remember, they are nonlinear, they are dynamic, they are creating already before we become aware of this. That's already being woven. We are just becoming aware of it. And by this, I'm not saying that everything is set in stone. It is in the infinite field of probabilities, everything has already happened, or is simultaneously, mostly simultaneously happening. What we are strengthening with our belief, with our life force, with our thoughts, with our actions, the timeline that is going to bring coherence to those thoughts, to those actions, to those beliefs, we are just picking it up. And unfortunately, that happens mostly unconsciously, without a state of awareness. That would be more about coming from the, oh, it just happened, things happen, instead of, okay, how did I magnetized this timeline to my reality by the resonance that I am being at this moment, what I am emitting. So, having said this, imagine that we live in a reality that we know barely about, we know very little about. What is in that space creating and shaping us as the 0 point field? We don't know what it is. It is highly unknown as the very same potential energy until we become aware of it. Okay, this can happen, this can be through the creativity. If we don't become creative, if we're automatized, then we don't even connect with that potential energy. So we stop being automatized, just doing by doing, and we start to tune into, okay, what can I create? What I choose to create. And then we start saying, oh, okay, so this is all suspended in the space memory network in the Akasha as a field of probabilities. Okay. So now that 0 point field, which is the Planck plasma, is the one that is going to give us, or can help us to bring coherence within our creative aspect and our manifesting aspect, the feminine and the masculine. But there is a key, and that huge key is trust. But not trust as a romantic new age way that they have put, like, just jump into the abysm. Just jump. Go ahead, jump, jump. Let's see what happens. No, it's more of a way, as the arcans in the tarot say, that how I perceive it, that hunch, that certainty without knowing is the result of high wisdom and knowingness. You know, when you reach that state, that it's not just doing by doing, you know. No, you are consciously doing it, but without the attachment, which is fear of the unknown. Because nowadays, fear, it's also suppressing big time the divine feminine, just that we know, you know, like how all this system operates. Because then we are saying, what we're saying to the universe is that we are afraid of ourselves, what we can create. And just now put this example to a kid. You have a kid with a canvas, a white canvas. If you feel in that kid with certainty, sustainable certainty, then that kid is going to grow up to making the right choices, wise choices, that it's not just jumping out into the abysm. No, it's knowing that if you jump, you will get there. And that is actually what you need to do right now, because you need to move strong amounts of energy in your field to shake the rest in order to get to that point, which is very different. And the result, therefore, will be very different. So just to finish with this now, I think that one of the biggest anchors that are limiting the full expansion of that potential energy without fear of destroying, without fear of herself, is that the feminine has a big role, which is the unknown. You know, it needs to have a lot of courage and bravery in a different way as the kinetic. It's more about, and this is very much related to the spider code. It's like the spider. It's looking at the field. It has infinite field of probabilities of how to create that spider web. It's trusting in its intuition, knowing that every direction that it will go, it's the perfect point to create that network. So if we empower our divine feminine with that trust, that even through what we have been taught as chaos, it's actually what is empowering order, for, or is creating, or giving the space for order to be. And I could even go deeper into the quantum of how it goes, but I would love for you to yeah,
Um,
talk more.
wow. Yeah, I just have to say wow a few times after each time you speak. Wow, 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 we wow. Okay.
Likewise.
Well, where do we even begin? Ha ha. Okay. So we're looking at the that so-called chaos, or that field of equal opportunity to every potentiality. And so that's the foundation of chaos magic or void magic. This is immensely powerful. So imagine we've got equal distribution of particles. They're all floating around in a container. And so you want to build, for example, a water molecule. You don't really need to go too far to find an H and an O and mix them together. Now imagine you've got some stable and let's say low energy state molecule that you have to first break it up to extract the hydrogen and oxygen and then build your water from some complex stable form that's difficult to break. So of course, if you are working in established order, I'm not talking about politics or social order. I'm just talking in general, established order, whether it's in the atomic and molecular structure of matter or in a manifested universe. This is an infringement upon infinite potential. So you may wonder, well, how does the beloved source of all things deal with this seeming paradox? And here comes the law of rhythm, ebb and flow or cycles. So from the infinite field of potential, something is manifest. The divine feminine must be patient. For the masculine to do its thing, establish the order, so that one potential that is chosen to express itself fully. And then the masculine needs to be understanding that once something has run its course, it's time for that established order to go, to open space for something else to emerge and manifest. We see this in the cycles, grand cycles, the life, the birth and death of a universe. Everything inside this bubble of existence is recycled. Nothing is wasted, but one universe after the other. It's like the breath of Brahma, inhalation and exhalation. So there's cycles to the universe. This also applies to history. So a really good example is the French Revolution. Everything is established for centuries. There's one class that has all the power and wealth, and there's a very strict system of hierarchy. Everybody is stuck. Well, guess what? The French Revolution happens, and then we have social mobility. It leads to beautiful democracy. So there's an upgrade. Was everything about the French monarchy bad? Well, no, for a while it worked. And then we reach that stage of stagnation and deterioration. There's no way out of that. And so really the thing about using these cycles optimally is again awareness. When has something run its course? When does it stop serving you? When does it stop being awesome and amazing? That's the time for it to go. Let's say you have a really modern, beautiful skyscraper and people live in it for 50 years. Material deteriorates. It's time for that formerly beautiful skyscraper to come down for something even better to come in its place. Look at how our cities evolve. And now in the human being, because we're the model of the cosmos, we also have these cycles. And so we come to these archetypical definitions that we see in the tarot: the tower, the fool, the magician, the emperor, empress. So Carl Jung wasn't the first one to come up with these ideas. Like many things, these are rebranding of more ancient wisdom. There's nothing new under the sun. It takes us to bring the tower down before the tower is brought down on our head. That takes wisdom. And so
Yes.
instead of a clean, controlled demolition with not even a little particle of dust goes out of this containment, it's clean, it's orderly. Imagine the chaos of a building coming down without any pre-planning. People are going to get stuck underneath the rubble. It's just going to be a catastrophe. So this is our duty. Finding the resistance, observing, does a certain thing serve any longer or not? And so for us to bring in that open space, the chaos, also known as the ego death. I was talking about this new grandmaster. Guess what? It's time for my ego to die once again. I must accept I'm a total dum-dum and that there's so much wisdom out there, and I should be a kid once again with sparkly eyes sitting in school like when I was 5. to learn the new stuff once again. Forget all the old stuff. It's done its job. I've pushed it to the limit. It's time for something new. So, this whole thing of polarity, masculine, feminine, manifestation of amongst an infinite number of potentialities, patience of the feminine, allowing it to express itself fully, and then the masculine saying, okay, I've done my thing, it's time to go and do something new, and giving space to expression of the feminine. And this is also an ongoing internal process. We're not at war with anybody. It's a matter of optimization in point and fact. Do you want it to deteriorate to a point where it's a pain in the butt, or you know when it's done and you just cut it, snip it in the bud when it's time? That's the art of living, really. So if you do this correctly, guess what? You get to express so many things. How would you measure your life? If you've worked, let's say, only one job behind one desk for 40 years and that's all you've ever done, oh my God, that's a disaster. But imagine you've worked 20 different jobs and been a shining star. You've traveled the world, you've danced, you've painted, you've published books, you've composed music. That is a full life. And you see, ultimately, when you look at it, giving expression and then wiping it out and seeding new potential. That's the way of a profound and fulfilling and rich experience. The way that the universe works, the way that Earth works, our society works, a building works. And guess what? The human body follows the same principle, cycles of ebb and flow. That's our choice. How beautiful do you want to live?
That, yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you for saying, for putting it in such a delightful way. The potential, sometimes the potential of what we can do can be overwhelming, and actually be, like, I ask myself, and I think that humanity is more afraid about embodying their divine power than committing the same mistakes again, because you are facing again that unknown, but unknown to the memory that we currently have, highly known by the memory that we truly are. Because again, everything is very much connected to memory. Everything is memory. It's data. It's information. It's energy. You know, and all these codes. So I just want to transmit that, like this high love and compassion for the divine feminine, for everyone that is joining us now and that will be watching this show later.
You're already
Is
doing it.
thank you. Thank you. You too. You too. It's like, imagine that you have like this, again, this 0 point energy that this is just recently came to the surface. It had never been touched upon. We know there was ether. We would say, oh, that's awesome. Ether, it's like the quintessence. It's the big deal, the real deal. Yet never truly touched upon that. And it's our nature. And when we're talking about, that the black holes are where life is, the point where life is created, the space where life is created through the vacuum fluctuations. Okay, so what's the vacuum fluctuations? It's again two forces, two poles coming together, coming together. If we go beyond stepping into like stepping into our experiences just randomly, and we move into stepping up for our experiences, then that certainty, that trust in ourselves will be so inevitable that anything will be capable to stumble us down. And again, there are cycles, as Dr. Amir was saying. We cannot defy our nature, yet we can fall in love with it and mastery it. So, for example, if we become really good DJs, really good musicians, and we know which beats we need to keep short, which would be, the cycles in which the potential energy is drawn into this chaos. And then we just summarize it, keep it simple, and then we go all the way to the cycles where it could be called, like the high peak of our reality. And then we can extend a little bit more on that. Yet out of detachment, because we know that all those cycles are sacred, are necessary, and mostly they are non-linear. Because again, when we're talking about, for instance, energetic waves, we think linearly, even though they are not linear, but we are seeing just, a wave going through a line, a steady line, down, 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 or a marked line. What if those waves are going into a spiral, as they are? So what is touching above is touching below, is being touched by the that which is below, as Dr. Amir was also saying, as above as below. So even if you are touching, like the cycle that it's bringing you to that vessel of potential creation, you're also touching at that very same moment with a higher peak in from another, or like another timeline that is intertwined to this timeline, and that is benefiting you as you speak. Because again, reality is non-linear. It is as we create it and as we believe it, and as this simulation reality shows. However, we are here, as how I experience it, to bring that continuum, that dynamic aspect of it, those vacuum fluctuations, when you are not one event. You are the fullest spectrum of what you're not even capable to see right now. And you can bring that through your potential energy, through your divine feminine, not condemning it as, oh my, it's the chaos. It's like, it's the potential, it's the force that can bring to you whatever you want to experience. You just need to be brave enough to embrace it, to comprehend it, to feel that compassion of that which institutions, belief systems, and so forth said, ooh, no, that's the forbidden. Don't go there. Don't go there. That's toxic. Ooh, no, that's chaos. Wow. No, you don't want to go there. Stay here in the line. The line is good. Here you everything you want to create, you already know. Why do you need to go through those complex things? No. And unconsciously, we were stigmatizing that divine feminine. And then we wonder, why? Why is this energy, this potential energy, so suppressed? Why can people create and manifest as they speak? Well, many things, but one of them is this, So this is how important, as how I perceive it, is to actually tune more into that which we don't see, not being afraid of it. It's not complex. I mean it, because I handle it that way. This is one of the things that I love sharing. It is actually very simple, because you're just choosing colors of flavors. Imagine that you're in an ice cream shop. They're just asking you what flavor you want, you know? So then dive into yourself, dive into the unknown of yourself. It's waiting for you. You have amount of treasures hidden there and condemned without even knowing them. There's pure gold there waiting for you.
Beautiful. Well, um, let's continue upon this, looking at uh, male and female, but this is not exactly masculine and feminine energy. So, for example, the void energy, or that which is known as yang, or passive, or receptive, this has embodiments in both male and female form. Kali, being of the divine void, but
Beautiful.
also the Vajrakila, the masculine counterpart. Highest form of Tantra, if you embody the void, you have mastered all potentiality. And the way that this is represented in Buddhist artwork and in Hindu artwork also is the embrace. They're facing each other and embracing. And then there's this divine fire blazing around them and lightning sparks jumping around. But this also applies to the masculine or active or yin energy, which also has a male and female representation. So we have Shiva and we have Shakti, or maybe Durga. So they did, and I love all of these energies, all of these representations of consciousness that I just spoke of, especially Kali. Whenever I get my dumbass into trouble, she really saves me. Thank you, Kali. Now,
Me too.
looking at the role of each. So we know that we can embody male bodies, female bodies. We've done these thousands of times on Earth, all of us. And so, again, in each one of these incarnations, we can embody active or passive yin or yang energy. So let's kind of look at the role of each. Well, the feminine or the yang or passive energy, it doesn't just hold all potentiality. It's constantly looking through them to find the optimal choice for next cycle. And the active or yin or masculine energy isn't just responsible for creation or manifestation, it's waiting for the feminine to say, "Psst, okay, time's up." So it's also responsible for destruction. So many of these beings that are described in the Eastern tradition, these are not gods in the form of what we understand in the Western culture. They're representations of ideas, primordial energies. So, with creation, the masculine is waiting for the signal from the feminine. Okay, it's run its course, bring the whole thing down. And so, that is the duty of the masculine, to listen to that other aspect of consciousness, to be whole. If these two go to war, oh dear, we're in trouble. Divine feminine gives a poor next potential to be manifest. Masculine builds it up and it's not really good. Or the masculine has built an established structure, feminine says, okay, bring it down. And the masculine says, nope, I don't want to. This is I like it this way. And so we go into stagnancy and degeneration. That's the balance that is in the cosmos, that is in the human body also.
Yes, I love it. I love it. It brought me to me like again the continuum, the potential is here and it's also outside, as well as the kinetic, they're emerging, they're creating this beautiful toroidal fundamental field. Um, Speaking of which, how would you describe that the perfect, well, not, let's go beyond perfect, because again, for me perfect would be even imperfection itself again, otherwise you stop evolving. But what would be a very holy, not as as from wholeness, a very holy approach to the Vedic, because I love the Vedic. Like, for instance, if we're talking about Kali and so forth, then it it brings me to Tiamat, which is also that dragon water. Like there are many ways to relate to it, but mainly is like again that ocean of potential energy of so what would it be a very holy way of for the beautiful soul tribe that is joining us, what would be a very holy way to describe the most harmonic way of interaction in between the divine feminine and the divine masculine?
Well, you've already answered this earlier in this conversation we've had, detachment. And so please allow me to elaborate. Um,
Absolutely.
Everything seems to work really, really good until we are running in survival mode, survival consciousness. There's fear, there's lack mentality, and there's victim mentality. These are all anchors pulling us down from human state into animal state. And you see this more pronounced when survival becomes tougher. The animal really comes out. So, what is it that is the block in this beautiful cycle? It seems it's the destruction phase. We're afraid. What if I walk away from this god awful job and then I can't pay my bills? Fear. Ding, 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 ding. That's the thing that is the blockage. So we need to come to remember a fundamental truth. We don't own anything. And I don't mean this in a New World Order, dark side kind of thing. Even the bodies that we have, these are a loan from the planet. We accumulate a certain amount of mass, and then the soul shard leaves and it goes back to the earth to be recycled. So you don't even own your body. That's an illusion. What you do own is the experience. That's what you keep with you, and that's what goes into your soul memories and the Akashic records. And you can go back lifetimes. You can verify this through many, many methods. QHHT or shamanic healing is available. So if you do your homework, this truth becomes irrefutable. Therefore, that thing that blocks this smooth flow of birth and death, regeneration and evolution is the fear. So you need to be brave. Don't fear the destruction. Most profound experiences happen after tower. Please think, go back in your time. Something breaks down, something goes really catastrophically wrong, or at least that's what you think in the time. And then when the dust settles, you look back, you say, oh my God, I needed this. It opens space for the new to come in. And oh my goodness, the new is so much better. I have never experienced a degradation in my conditions after an act of valor. One of our wonderful audience also wrote this in the chat, that the universe, the cosmos, faves bravery. That is true. So, if you are a scaredy cat, you're going to be stuck in the box, like a kitten in a shoebox. If you're brave, you're going to rip that god awful box apart, and then you have the whole forest or the whole city to explore. So, what brings in harmony? You got to be brave. You see something in you that is not working, you got to tear it down. Don't wait for it to become stagnant. It's like discovering that first cancer cell. Maybe they got to do some sort of biopsy, go in with a needle and poke around and it hurts like freaking hell. Guess what? You got the first cell. You got 4 more decades to live. Leave that for 3 more months. So, are you going to be brave or are you going to be a scaredy cat? Fear is not rewarded. Failure is not rewarded. Hey, you messed up. You lost your chance. You blew it. The cosmos is not rewarding you and you're not evolving. Guess what? You're brave. You face that fear, that opposition. You say, okay, come at me. Show me what you've got. Ah, hunga hunga. I am mighty human. Hear me roar. That's when the amazing stuff happens. So we need to shed fear. We need to shed victim mentality, and we need to shed that lack mentality. There's enough. If you've made it so far, you're going to make it again. How did you make it the first time round? Do that again. So that's my understanding of this whole thing. You got to be a little bit Viking, yeah. Rah.
Oh, thank you. I was thinking about two main things, too many things, yet two main ones. And the first one, which I will address first too, is of the Osiris myth, and also the moon came. The moon and Nemesis. As the dwarf sister, dwarf star sister of the sun. So when it comes to Osiris, um, we're talking about fear. And how I perceive it, there are many ways, of course, that fear can translate us. Yet the core, the essence, is mainly related to fear of death. Whether if it's the death of a program, an idea, a belief system, because again, everything is a program. Everything. Why? Because program, if we address it as the way that you put together codes, information, and then create a structure that then constructs life or a reality, that's where I'm coming from. So now, when it comes to the fear of death, then we see Osiris, who there is people that related also to the encoded word, which is the Greek one, which is operative system of the iris. O, operative system, S, of the iris, Osiris. Okay, so there is a lot of people that reads the iris in the eye. We know that through our eyes we're reflecting everything that is in front of us. It's a portal that is creating from the holographic field, you know, at a more coherent level, then densifying all the way and projecting another hologram that we would to perceive as tangible, into the material form. So due to the lower frequencies that it has, as I said. So anyway, now for me, the biggest core of that Osiris myth is, or story, is transcending the fear of death. Because again, death is an illusion. Everything is evolving. Because as you were expressing all these beautiful things, I was, like routing and scanning and saying, okay, so that attachment is like anchored to the idea that things will cease to be, they will stop. Because there is an idea that made us believe that things can be eternal, which the essence is eternal and is eternally evolving. So it's the misconception of translating essence into matter in a linear form. Okay, so I want to keep this and this and this. In that attachment, you're creating distortion, and the beautiful things that are heading to your way are taking longer because you're so afraid getting, being very apprehensive. You could be. I mean, this is just a supposition, of course. But again, trust. Even, now that we are talking about what our molecular structure of water is evolving into, we require from more hydrogen, protons of hydrogen in our molecular structure of water to create hydronium, which is H3O2, not anymore H2O. This is organic. This happens organically and will be happening even more. And what that creates, this hydronium, is that it enables the process of delocalizing protons. And this means, imagine your multidimensional nature being here, being there, being there, being there, being there, being there. It's like a whole universe to discover. Yet, if you're fear and only want to stay in one reality frame, then you're not going to discover the full spectrum of it that is waiting for you. So the ancient was what they were conveying. Transcend that fear of an illusory death, and you will enlighten. What we were talking last time, you will enlighten, you know? And this is very much related to the moon, because something that I say is like, well, kind of related, is a lot of people say that the moon is artificial, right? And that is the divine feminine. So then you have this huge correlation and like blocks of weight on the divine feminine, like, hey, you're artificial. And then you see what's happening to a lot of women right now, and it's spot on. They are perpetuating that, but due to the very same reality that we as a collective have created. And then you have on the other side, okay, so what else could be a correlation of the feminine at an astronomical level? Okay, so we live in a binary system. The sun is not the only star, there is another one. Her name is Nemesis, which is like Mufasa. Ooh. And it's small, it's brown, it's dark. And every time that it comes close by, extinction happens. So that's the other parameter that we have for feminine. So then we say, like, oh, wow. No, it's exactly what is happening.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, it's distorted. It's a twisted truth. You
Yes.
see, this is the most dangerous form of manipulation, where there are elements of truth in it, but then when it really matters, then the poison comes in. And then you see how this trickles down into not just um, conflicts between male and female movements that gain massive, massive support, but then most destructively in internal conflict. Because it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, whatever you believe or whatever you identify as, that's all respected. But if you have conflict internally, that's taking away your energy. That certainty, the alignment of all elements of your energy is gone. And so, by very definition, that unified consciousness harmonics, where you hear the wisdom of the body and you hear the wisdom of your divine aspect, that is gone. So, you're cut from source, you're cut from earth, you're at war internally, the body starts breaking down. Nothing works correctly, and guess what? You are easier to control and manipulate. So, this type of malware or virus, which is in the form of distorted fact, distorted truth. See, it's not about this, let's say, being that we all have to bow down to and go, kumbaya, kumbaya, I love you, I worship you, I sacrifice my babies to you. No, 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 come on, please.
Yeah.
Our ancestors were not dumb. They didn't have the toys we were playing with as technology. They had their own technology. Please trust, go look at these pyramids they've built.
Yeah, exactly.
And when it comes to the matter of consciousness, the cosmos, the energy of the body, these were advanced people. So they tried to perpetuate this. How would you teach a 5-year-old an immensely complex principle of creation? You make it into a story Oh, there was Osiris, and then this happened, and then this happened. Now, someone comes along, someone really clever and kind of really dark, really evil. Oh, how do we control these people? Oh, let's put a bug right in the noggin where it's going to mess with them in perpetuity. So, in order to release this, we really have to be brave because I'm just going to be kind of like extreme here. All of these fears, they're a massive loudspeaker, two tiny wires going to a watch battery. And so, when you snip the wire, you see there's nothing behind it. It's all of the nature of illusion. And so, compassion, whenever you see your emotions go to the extreme, something triggers you. Ding, 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 ding. That's your indication something internally is out of balance. And there's no judgment here. It could be any topic. There's no judgment, no emotion. That's your cue. You need to look at this. And so we see often young people very passionately screaming on the top of their voices, rah, 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 this is wrong, this is right. But that's not a compassionate and mature approach. It doesn't leave room for conversation and learning. And so, if I want to conclude the whole thing, I would say the way out is critical self evaluation and the shedding of fear. This really will push us forward, get this cycle of evolution flowing smoothly once again.
Hmm. No, now that you're touching upon cycle, and thank you for again for saying all of that. It's so important, everything that you have said, like all this confusion translated into coherence, you know. Um, I always, as you know, try to translate everything into how the universe behaves. And I say, okay, so in which situation would the universe hold to so much decoherence? Unless you have massive amounts, like cosmic amounts of a galaxy, then you need a lot of decoherence to create, the center. Yet when we're talking about us, which are, particle, nanoparticle to the source, this also helps me to acknowledge how powerful we are and what amount of cosmic energy we are creating. And if we reverse that, if we torsion that, then we will be able to construct universes of light, cities of light, all that reality that we came here for to manifest. To torsion that acceptance, as you also said, wholeness, and knowing how to navigate within our own structure, multidimensional structure. You gave amazing tips to actually, like from a very daily life basis all the way to highly spiritual. We shared, like keynotes, like suggestions. And I would say that the torsion, one way that I have found that it's very simple because it's calling in our holographic nature, is when you start reading the universe as energy, and for instance, the person, the man, the woman that you're in a relation with, you just remove the the costume, the disguise, and you see it's pure energy. And how you're interacting with that energy, you also take your costume off and you see yourself as energy. How is that energy interacting with one another? Is it creating, like an electric cut, like a short circuit, uh, a shortcut, you know or is it creating, like amplifying the light, amplifying the energy? What is it, in which part of your body? Because there is like due to the very same anchors that were planted, is like as soon as you identify, you attach. Not always, but unless you work on it, as soon as you identify, you attach to a story, attach to a memory, attach to emotion, and so forth. When you just see it as energy, you say, interesting, okay, why here? And then you clear it. And then from that 0 point field, which is also, like other practice, then you will be addressing to it, yet you won't be falling for the story, for the novel that keeps in drama humanity, which drains a lot of our energy. That drama, egregor, drains a lot of our energy. And it's not related again to any gender, because there are also some crazy beliefs that, oh, this gender is all about drama. Oh no, this gender, it's non-drama. Or energy. Oh, we really need to, well, it's for me one of the big like keynotes of my path of remembrance so far has been acknowledging that the fact that our heart is more to the left than to the center is that our feminine aspect has been put as the one in charge of emotions. So it's very important for us to align it to the true north. I was so excited when they were telling me, like Arcturus Ra and Sherry Deep Band confirmed that, because I read on this a while ago that I said we need to restore our heart to the true north, like put it equally in our hemispheres. And now kids are being born with their heart at the center. So, it's like everything is so connected. And I do believe that if we don't address to these fundamental energies, that which a lot of people have said, like, oh, yeah, we're moving from the Kali Yugas to the Satya Yuga or whatever, like however they want to conceive it, we, as far as I'm concerned, we can only do that when we master the 0 point energy, which is torsioning those forces that are coming against us by torsioning first our thought that, ooh, your energy, I need to create. So okay, here I have energy, here I have energy, here I have energy. Your energy, the information that has been addressed to you, is an idea, and it's as illusory as any other construction of reality. Yes, you have a frequency. Yes, you have a frequency, yet I can use that frequency for other things. Okay, so for what do I need low frequency? What I need to do? Okay, so in order to destruct a program, I need accelerating that low frequency, to collapse it. Okay, so then funneling energy, and you work with your holographic vessel. So, like, I just want to say that like there is no one that I think that would have been the best to do this show with than you, Dr. Amir,
Thank
because
you.
no, I mean it. Thank you, because the the beautiful dance of your energies, it's yeah, it's a delight. It's a cheesecake. It's an embodied cheesecake. You cannot go higher than that. The cosmic cheesecake dance. So and yeah, it's an honor. I would love if you could share with us a message from your divine feminine to the divine feminine of all who is or will be watching.
Shed from your consciousness all that makes you small. There is joy in rebirth, and the very process of rebirth needs death to be reborn. And so, welcome this. It is the way of nature. Die before you die, and jam pack within one incarnation 100. And so, it's all about optimization of life. Are you slow or are you fast? Are you adaptable or are you stagnant? The path of evolution is beautiful. I bless you. I bless your life. I bless your journey.
Hmm. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Yes.
Yay, cheesecake.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the cheesecake that I speak of. Everyone, no, you get diabetes. No, no, not this one. This is spiritual cheesecake. It's the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. uh, I was going to say the true nature of reality, as there is people like all type of thinkers, then at some point there will be people that think that the world has a shape of a cheesecake.
But but that's advanced stuff. Don't that's not for public
Give it
consumption.
away. Yeah, yeah. It's still.
The world was not created on the shell of a turtle. It was created in a slice of cheesecake. Yeah, oh, but that comes later. Maybe in a few years, the collective will be ready
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
this
yeah.
profound truth.
First 0 point energy, and then
Nom, nom.
cheesecake Earth theory.
It's not flat Earth. It's cheesecake
Yeah,
Earth.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. And again, what is life without joy, right? That's
yes. This is just the transmuting. Yeah, talking about turning it on its head and raising the vibration. Well, there you go. That's one of the techniques. When life gives you lemons, make lemon cheesecake. Yeah, and oh yeah, best thing.
yes, I agree. I agree. I would love to say that uh, we're facing a big stage of human evolution that is definitely coming out of a cycle. Yes, I was reading that for instance, the spectral spheres as the Buga sphere has been, present in many other stages of human evolution. So if we dive into everything that throughout history, again, like his story, like the coding, the quantum nature of words, the frequency embedded within them. But anyway, if we go through human evolution, we would see the behavior and the interaction in between the feminine and the masculine. We can see that there has been a lot of corruption and being hijacked by other forces that are not inherent to human nature. Uh, I know that there is people that believe that Homo homini lupus, which is Hobbes, a philosopher, that said that the human was a wolf to himself, but in a nature that a cannibal to himself. And for this, I say, if if you believe that, then you will be creating and manifesting that. The reality that I choose to, and that I believe that most of the people that I know that I am co-creating with, I know they have this loving nature, and that is, instead of putting more clothes, more layers of clothes. It's about taking them off. I don't know if we're going on to a point of Adam and Eve before, but
We'll go
before
further,
the
pulling the
Eve.
skin off and all the tissue off, and then we're going to be orbs of light. So yeah, I think probably.
Exactly, exactly. So the more layers of beliefs that we take off, and we keep on connecting with a detached form of truth, which keeps on evolving at every moment, the more that we will find that there is not a unique guidance for anything. It's just a continuum of delightful answers that we keep on finding within as we continue to evolve. So I believe that as we are stepping up into a very important stage of creation, it involves a lot of love, self love. And then we can expand it. And the more that you know what your feminine looks like, what your masculine looks like, manifested as as two energies here having discussions and so forth, or manifested as things that can be triggered into your reality or through a relationship that you have, or biologically, as you said, regardless of how it is, just presence, presence in knowing thyself. And in order to get to that holy um, state of knowing thyself, it's important for first go through parts, you know, like what does your feminine look like? What does your masculine look like? Just keeping it simple for now. And yeah, is there is anything else that you want to say, Dr. Amir?
No, I think this was a wonderful conversation. We covered lots of good stuff. I would like to thank our audience. Thank you, guys. Um, Thank you for your time. We're here to be of service to you. We love you. Thank you.
Well, there is a question. I don't, do you want to address it?
Okay, I've got a feeling of having two hearts. How do you kill the old one? Feed it to the new one. Yeah, so nothing goes to waste. Everything is recycled. Think of our solar system. Doesn't matter what goes down, the sun one day is going to go supernova. And then that cosmic stardust is going to be used for new planets and new solar systems and new physical life. This is the nature of everything. We've got um, intelligent recycling so that old can be transmuted and evolved. You don't need to kill the old, you evolve it. There are very rare cases where you have to break things down to the foundation. And so, if that is called for, so be it. Trust yourself. Know that what's coming in the place of the old is better because you've learned the lesson. That's the point of the old. And so, it served its purpose. May the new lessons coming in serve you also. Don't be afraid. Go for it. Pull the trigger. Do it with great joy. Yeah, I like the Vikings. Holding your battle axe, run towards it. Don't be afraid. That's the way of evolution.
I agree. I absolutely agree. It brought me to the example that I tend to give about the tablets of these ETs, you know, taking the heart of another ET. That
Yeah,
was the original
yeah,
depiction. Then later on, they put human faces, and then distorted into other thing. But what in the beginning that represented was precisely the quantum surgery of taking, like it can be because there was like a heart that needed to be, or an organ that needed to be changed. And if we take it into an a spiritual level, it would represent removing the old heart to bring in the new heart. And I think that that is very much aligned to, you know, aligning the heart to the true north, detaching, because it's regenerating, it's shedding layers of, that are no longer in fulfillment to the next, for the next stage. Um, and if you want to know what I'm talking about, that quantum surgery, you can watch my other videos. I don't want to keep Dr. Amir
No,
very long.
no, I'm loving this. So, if I may add, so
Yeah.
our wonderful friend, Arthim, saying, okay, old heart, new heart. Um, from what I've seen working with the energy structure of people, um, heart does receive damage. That is true. Trauma, betrayal, heartbreak, people seeing your loving nature as weakness and abusing it. So think of this perfect crystal getting chipped and damaged. And so, what you can do, there's an imbalance in the energy. And so, think of calling back your energy, pulling all of it in, melting the heart, and casting it brand new, as if none of the damage ever existed. And so, from the past, just keep the wisdom. So I know I'm repeating myself, but I suppose we're touching on fine details every new time, every new iteration. Keep the wisdom, throw the rest away. It served you. And again, please keep in mind the whole purpose of coming down into earth is this experience and wisdom. So you're better for it. And I wish you the very best, dear friend.
Hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. I love that. Now that we are into that, those beautiful technologies, the quantum surgery, we know that there are energetic surgeries. Like, for instance, if someone calls Dr. Amir, hey, I'm having this pain, and if he can receive help from him, yeah, he will do a surgical, an energetic surgery, and then the person will feel better, much better. So now, when it comes also at, like, let's say, uh, naming naming it as a quantum surgery that involves tangible things as organs being replaced, there was, or is, who knows, he disappeared, but a quantum physicist, a Mexican quantum physicist, Jacobo Greenberg, and he did deep research on the shamans, mainly a Mexican one named Pachita. And Pachita was very well known for performing surgeries. Of course, they wouldn't call them quantum surgeries or even energetic surgeries. They would call them surgeries because they did involve knives, not properly surgical knives. I'm talking about kitchen knives. So a lot of people would come and visit her for different diseases. But the ones that mainly this researcher, this quantum physicist, ran into that extended his research on this was precisely the ones that involved, like, literal surgical um, endeavors, So the like all of his research, he has pictures, photos documented. Again, his name is Jacobo Greenberg. If you want to dive into his story and his research, so to summarize it, there was this story about Bachita and a man that came, two stories. One, a man that came to get brain surgery. Well, to the surprise of the quantum physicist, that disappeared again, because there are theories that the CIA took him, or even galactic beings, because he discovered something very important related to the lattice, the space memory network, how to master it in and equations in quantum physics, through quantum physics equations translated. Um, so then when Pachita performed this surgery, she did it again with a knife, a kitchen knife, opened without anesthesia. She was just the field that the energetic electromagnetic field that she emitted was so strong that the patients will enter into an altered state of consciousness and influence their own biology to stimulate type of oxytocin and shifting the adrenaline precisely for oxytocin, another type of alchemical redistributions. um, so then the man survived. He had a tumor, it was removed, and the man survived. And the other one was a story of the man with a heart. She put him. He laid in a table, grabbed the kitchen knife, put some alcohol on it, then got him. Again, the same process, amplifying her field, so forth, removing the heart. And what was more surprising is to him as a scientist, as an academic, was that she created from this space, from the ether, another heart, placed it, and the other one was removed.
Wow.
Stitches, put him sewing him back, switch,
Yes,
stitching
literally. Yeah.
stitches, like again, everything, putting everything in order, all the organs and so forth. And he survived. He lived a very healthy life. All of that research was taken, but yet the people who read it before he disappeared with all his research have the well, this their statements, and this was a massive, like a very high, a very well known event of all everything that happened regarding to this quantum physicist and regarding to Pachita, the shaman. So if we go through the holographic field, we know that this is possible. Of course, there is required a high level of coherence.
Mhm.
As the stories of Jeshua and the multiplication of fish and wine, it's not magic in a way that how it has been misconceived, the word of magic, as woo woo, like, oh yeah, no, it is following a very specific alchemical process. We can call it magic, we can call it science, we can call it, because it can all be explained through the unified physics and the holographic field theory. We just require from a high level of coherence and therefore mastery of our plasma body. If we're capable to heal with through our hands, we are very capable to manifest in situ. We have the abracadabra. We have all this. They're not just illusion. They were talking about something. So
Right.
yeah,
Correct.
and
It's
this
Misha,
technology.
it's so interesting that it's more difficult to find evidence of this today than it is from ancient cultures. So um, one that comes to mind is well, a book. This is a novel based on papyrus found under a mummified body. Book is called Sinohe the Egyptian. Author is Mika Waltari. So they found a sarcophagus under the body. There's these papyrus, and it's the story of the pharaoh's physician describing the process of opening the skull, how they were able to cease the bleeding, same process you're describing. And also lots of bodies are found where they used to use gold. They would mold the piece of bone that's taken out, mold gold, and place it back in. Gold is neutral, so it wouldn't cause inflammation or mess with the immune system, wouldn't infect, so they knew how to do this. And then there's healing, evidence of healing, so the person survived afterwards. And so this is not a new thing. Uh, uh, you know, Unfortunately, the modern scientific establishment is very dogmatic. And so, if it even slightly deviates from what is politically correct, it evokes fear in the academics because their funding will get cut, and they don't want to mess with with the big brother or the granddaddies of that field. But that is very limiting. The scientific approach itself is beautiful and valid. Scientists sometimes they get carried away a little too far, so that does happen. But this is something to look forward to. It's not just this one wonderful shaman that could do this. This seems to be with us.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
the beauty of it is, well, if she could do it, probably we can do it. What is special about her? But opening up to that eternal wisdom.
Hmm.
You don't learn this in medical school. You connect to upper dimensions, to something that is more profound and wise than the human monkey brain, including how to manifest a heart. And so one must enter these fields with an open heart and an open mind, shed prejudice and fear, and allow the magic of the cosmos to unfold. It will surprise you in the most beautiful way.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. You know, um, it's very much connected even to the plasma body coherence, again to the potential energy mastering, potential kinetic, because then we're being the transmission of the universe and not of an illusion. This is super important. So this is embedded in our nature, encoded in our DNA. Like the chromosome 7, the properties that it is in charge of generate at a biochemical level are very much related to the psionics. You know, how due to again the neurochemicals that it creates that then enable high processes and unfoldments of our pituitary gland, pineal glands, including the one in the heart and so forth. So this shouldn't be crazy thing for us or sci-fi, a sci-fi plot to us. This is our multidimensional nature. Isn't it exciting? It's like that's what we came here for. Not to, well, everyone can come for any given reason that they choose to. However, I also want to put this on the table. Perhaps we came here for that. I know that that's big part of why I came here for, you know and so to be the transmission of that multidimensional nature of that cosmos and not of an illusion. Yeah, we're living here. Yeah, I get it. We are playing. Yes, that's it. We are playing. So
You know what we're playing? We're playing a game of dum dum. Rolling in the mud, our eyes are closed, our memory is wiped, hands or feet are tied, and we're wiggling around like earthworms. And so that is the game, the great game of Dum Dum. And so the game is over. It's time to take the blindfolds off, look around, say, "Oh my God, is this what was going on all along?" And then embrace the joy. Because first of all, you're going to be pretty pissed off. Oh my God, why was I playing this game of Dum Dum to begin with? Well, it's just to experience that limitation. There's value in that. And
yeah,
so, yeah, the time of the end game, the ending of the game of Dum Dum is upon us. Rejoice, people. The future is glorious. It's irresistible. It is an unstoppable force. It is the all truth. It is what is. No matter how you spin a lie, once you see the truth, it's over. You can't unsee it. And so you may go through the turbulence of, oh my God, why did you do this? Or why did I do this? Or how dare you? Why did you? That's secondary to the fact that you're seeing the truth. Once you see, you are free. And you got to be little bit brave, taking the blindfolds off, getting used to the sunlight again, once again. Oh my goodness, my eyes hurt. Of course they do. You haven't used them. I go back to the movie The Matrix. Why is the light hurting my eyes? Well, you've never used them. That's so true. Well, happy birthday, humanity, because that's what's coming up.
Yes, I agree. I
Shall
agree.
we need to get the cheesecake now? Yeah, we
Yeah.
keep coming back.
What would happen if they brought you a chocolate cake instead of a cheesecake?
I'll have it. Yeah, no, old cake is my friend, but cheesecake is my best friend. So
Perhaps using some plasma and then,
yeah,
like
hold it up in the light and transmute
uh,
it into cheesecake.
cheesecake. Yeah. Yeah.
Great minds think alike, huh?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for all your beautiful comments, questions, and yeah, it's just a matter of remembering that all this simulation was anchored in a principle of truth. This is why it gets to be sustainable, because it makes sense unto some extent. The thing is that they just took a tiny bit of the fundamental truth and then created the whole plot in a very dramatic way. So when we just access to that particle through the wormhole of that particle to actually access the truth by not rejecting it, yet using it on our behalf, then we get to access, we're being granted because we are coming from a space of love, not rejection. Then we access through an epiphany, through a vision, through, oh, so that is how it connects, right? So that is what was the rest of the puzzle that I was not being able to see. And it requires, yes, bravery, courage, truth, integrity, love, and fun. A lot of sweetness.
Yeah.
Uh, some people would relate it precisely to that cheesecake, to any other type of sweetness. Yet I do believe that sweetness, joy is fundamental for this quest, because then we don't judge ourselves. Why are we here? We could be having fun in Sirius,
Yeah. Yeah.
commanding some motherships and going into other type of galactic quests. We are. We are
Yes.
doing that. Don't worry.
This
You
is it. By the way, this is what we. That's where we come from, and this is the quest. So you just have to snap out of it.
exactly. And we will be helping the universe big time. Like through this, we will be helping the universe big time, because this is a huge quest. You know, not everyone is willing to do this. So now,
Let's call it the Dum Dum Cheesecake Quest.
yeah, it's like you come from here. Okay, you want to play that
You
game?
hear cheesecake and you get, oh, so I'm going to go for it, and then you come in and you go, oh no, the Dum Dum, I didn't see that part.
The small letters. But now, once we will have like all these medals, and oh wow, you mastered it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We're bringing huge and amazing spatiotemporal constants into the universe, space-time fabric. Yeah. Well, thank you. Did you want to, where can people find you?
I've got a website, wizard of wivenhoe.co.uk. Hit me up, people. It would be an honor to work with you and co-create with you. I do energy car washes. So it says what it does, what it says on the tin. Energy car wash. Hit me up. I'd be delighted.
Hmm. Well, we sort of wivenho.co.uk,
Yeah.
And for me, you know where to find me, my social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel, website. Everything will be written in the description below. Remember, well, I will be presenting at the CLE on behalf of Artifact Guardians, explaining the educational part of all these ancient extraterrestrial findings that we have been doing in many places around the world, and also in Mexico. And we will be talking about that. I will be along with Trevor Miller and Gold Porter. So this will be very interesting. Also, join us at the Elite event in March in LA, and also in the Rise of the Guardian, Sedona, May. There will be very fascinating things happening, a lot of surprises that it's not for me to reveal. Let's wait for Rion to disclose them, but they're very exciting. I assure you that. And I will be very happy to present new like novel technology there regarding to the source code and DNA cymatics to empower your geometrical light body and connect to source. And of course, saving the best for last, the upcoming course with Dr. Amir regarding to the plasma body and the rainbow body. So stay tuned, because we will be sharing a lot of uh, tools to create that coherence in your reality and empower your multidimensional body, reaching illumination, that rainbow code.
Yeah.
So, having said this, fall in love with yourself if you feel like. It's the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful quests in this one, that branches from this one, that makes this journey more beautiful. And looking forward for our next encounter, Dr. Amir.
Yeah, absolutely. May there be many more. It's an
Yes,
honor and pleasure to be here with you.
yes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I hope that this was enjoyable and beneficial. Love you all.
Love you all. Love you all. Thank you. Until next time.
Take
HUNUH.
care. Bye.